The Minnesota Twins split a series, a 4-game series at Kansas City. Lots of games, lots of ground to cover, so we're going to get right into it. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. This is Tom Froming from Twins Daily. So game one of this series, Twins lose 6-5. Unfortunately, this is kind of known as the Alberto Celestino game. He pissed off all the Twins territory with a play that had to be made in the bottom of the seventh that wasn't made. But let me explain sort of some reasoning why I didn't think it was that bad of a idea. Obviously, the execution was very much lacking. But so with one out and Jarrod Dyson at second, and I think that is an important thing to note when laying out the situation. This is one of the most aggressive base runners in the league, which that'll come up later in the series here. But one out, Dyson at second base. It's kind of a can of corn that goes out. Larnach's parked under this thing. He's under it. However, his momentum is sort of taking him to center field. He's not really in a great position to make a throw to third. Should Dyson try to tag up? Now, most 99% of base runners wouldn't even think to tag up on a ball this shallow into left field. But again, this is Jarrod Dyson at second base. We're talking about a speedy and aggressive base runner on second base. So I think what was going through Celestino's mind was he wanted to come get this ball, which, number one, I want a center fielder to be aggressive anyway. So I don't really mind that mentality of, hey, I can get to this thing. I want it. The question is whether he called for it or not. But the reason why I think it might have made sense was his momentum is all pulling toward third base. He's going right toward third base. If he has to make a throw, he's in a much better position to make a throw to third than Larnach would be. So if you're looking to kind of some reasoning at why he would have cut in front of Larnach to try to kind of steal that catch away, I think that's as good as a one you're going to find. Unfortunately, they kind of collided. He did not make the catch. Made matters worse by throwing over Nick Gordon and allowed Dyson to score. No defense on that throw. I don't have any reasoning on that one. So I'm not saying you can't completely throw Celestino under the bus, but it stings and it feels like that lost the game because it was the game-winning run, of course. But there were other opportunities the Twins had in this game. Hansel Robles walked the leadoff man. That's how that runner was on base. Don't do that. Don't do that, and maybe that situation doesn't arise. Clearly, you have to make that catch, and this was sort of the ultimate teachable moment. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of guys on this team that aren't really major league ready, that maybe are putting a little bit more pressure on themselves, maybe a little bit intimidated by the big bright lights and the big spotlight, maybe trying to do too much to impress in Alberto Celestino there. But as we saw, it was a good leadership moment from Trevor Larnach, kind of making sure Celestino didn't get too down, wrapping his arm around him and talking to him. And then Tommy Watkins, the outfield coach, speaking with both Larnach and Celestino, trying to figure out what happened here. How can we avoid this going forward? So overall, you lose the ball game, bad play late. That all sucks. Certainly didn't look good for Celestino, but hopefully this kind of ends in a positive in that they can learn from this going forward, move forward. And Celestino was clearly, not pleased with himself after that play, obviously. And, Celestino, 22-year-old who'd barely played in Double-A so far, this has been a tough ask of him. And I certainly think there's better days ahead for him going forward. Another guy in that game one that I wanted to highlight was Luke Farrell, who's been pitching pretty well. He pitched an inning, a scoreless, hitless inning, and struck out 2 batters. He's looked really good so far. He's 29 years old, so he's not like a prospect, but he could be, part of a solution with this bullpen. I do feel like this bullpen is getting much more dependable, which is, not saying a whole lot. This still is not an elite bullpen by any means. But they've been doing a better job of late, and we see that kind of going forward in this series. But, at least that game one was close late. Game two, this was the game. Matt Shoemaker gives up 9 runs and records 1 out. The Twins lose 14-5. I already recorded a video totally dedicated to the Shoemaker situation. You can check that out. I'll put a card up in here. But I don't even want to talk about him anymore. That's it. But it just very, very frustrating, that whole situation. And, Matt Shoemaker, obviously he's, I'm not like taking it personally or anything. I'm sure he's doing the best he can. But that sucked. That just sucked. And I wish Rocco would have just left him out there. At least for another, through the first inning at the very least, but maybe even a couple more innings, and just said, we have to, whatever your max pitch is, whether it's 100 or whatever, we have to get that out of you today to save some of the rest of the guys. But again, it's just a totally uncompetitive game. But it was really cool to see Nick Gordon have a great game with his dad in attendance. Tom Gordon, 3 for 4 with a home run from Nick Gordon, his first major league home run. So that was really cool. And he's really shown very well for himself early on here. I don't know what the Twins are going to do with, Jorge Polanco. He's more of a second baseman than a shortstop. Nick Gordon is more of a second baseman than a shortstop. Luis Arraez is more of a second baseman than an outfielder or whatever. So I'm not sure, kind of what's going to happen with Gordon. I've talked about, feeling that his best path to a major league career is if he's builds some more positional flexibility. So I would like to see him playing some short and maybe some center field as well. But anyway, good to see him playing well and, showing himself as a major league type player here in the early going. And then in game 3, the Twins won this one 5-4. And this really felt to me like a game the Twins would have lost earlier in the year. They did come close. It was tight at the end. Luckily, they pulled a double play to finish it off, because Jarrod Dyson, again, as a show of how aggressive he is on the pace pass, takes an extra base on a ground out and then is kind of off with contact from third base and gets thrown out to end it on a double play. But Jose Barrios in this one, not his best start, certainly 6 innings, 4 runs, but kept the team in the game, only 4 strikeouts. He wasn't really missing bats either. So definitely looking for better performances out of Jose Barrios than that. Not that, 6 innings is nice, but Barrios isn't your innings guy. He's not the guy you're looking for to fill innings. You're looking for more than that out of him. So that would have been nice to see. But the bullpen, Tyler Duffey, Taylor Rogers, Hansel Robles each delivered a scoreless inning. That's significant because every team is going to need bullpen help. So the better that the Twins bullpen pitches, the more marketable these guys are going to be as potential trade chips. I know maybe that they're not the most talked about options, and they might not bring a ton back in a trade, bullpen guys, but hey, every team in baseball is going to be looking for bullpen upgrades, essentially. Any winning team. When I see Duffey, Rogers, Robles have a good game, that's kind of what's going through my mind at this point. It just is what it is. Ryan Jeffers hit a home run. He's looked really good since Mitch Garver went down. And then also Kyle Garlick and Miguel Sano homered. So it's good to see Sano absolutely hammer a pitch. Still looking pretty Miguel Sano-y at the plate. I think you know exactly what I mean by that. When he hits a ball off of the Royals Hall of Fame or whatever to put the Twins ahead, that's a good game. And the final game today, game 4 of this series, the Twins win 2-1. Old school, low scoring, 1-run game that the Twins grind out. Again, this also felt like a game that the Twins lose earlier in the season. And again, another good bullpen performance, but this one was started by Bailey Ober. Looking for bright spots. This guy's certainly been one. A former 12th round pick, a guy with very limited experience in the high minors in AA and AAA. Holding his own here. We're not going to throw a parade over a guy throwing 4 innings, of course, but he threw 4 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, no walks, 4 strikeouts, and he had a 33% CSW. Called strike plus whiff percentage is what that stat is. That correlates really well to, it's very predictive, to put it that way. And league average is around 28%. So he was above average in that regard. I do think he benefited some from an aggressive Kansas City team that was kind of willing to expand the zone and a triple play. Anytime you pitch 4 innings and basically one of your innings pitched was on one play on that triple play, that's your defense helping you out quite a bit. So, no, we're not doing backflips over Bailey Ober's performance, but still very encouraged. And if this guy can just develop into even a 5th starter type, that would be really helpful for this organization and also be a developmental win, definitely, to get a guy this late in the draft and turn him into a major league piece, which, he's looking the part so far. So Love to see that. And then again, the bullpen, excellent. 5 shutout innings. Where has this been? Luke Farrell, again, mentioned him earlier. He pitched well in this one. Yeah, 5 shut. It's basically too late. And now the bullpen seems to be getting it together. But just the way the 2021 is going to work out here. But again, some of these guys looking like some marketable pieces potentially to trade away if the Twins are interested. Kind of back to that, this feels like a game the Twins would have lost feeling. The lineup was 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position and left 10 men on base in this game, where they only scored 2 runs. Usually you're going to lose this game more often than not. But, again, credit to the pitching staff, a full staff, effort here with 1 run allowed through 9 innings against Kansas City and barely hanging on again. Another leadoff double given up in the 9th inning, but they get out of it. Robles started that. Rogers finished it off for the save. Just a nice way to end this series in a positive way, winning these last 2 games and moving forward. The Twins are going to be off on Monday, and then they host the Yankees for a 3-game series at Target Field. The Yankees team that's really struggling to score runs right now, but we'll see if that trend continues at Target Field. Thank you again so much for checking this out, clicking on this video. This has been Tom Froming. If you like this video, please leave a like. Please consider subscribing for more Twins talk here on YouTube. Thank you.